My feeling is his primary goal is getting a good trade deal, and that is what would really satisfy him. So I am foreseeing actually some further surrenders by our leadership uh, and accommodating Trump and the United States in a very good deal for them.
So, do you
Signal.
see that as a veiled threat to Prime Minister Modi that look, if you want to continue to remain in power, you need to stop the Russian oil purchase? Is it a veiled threat or is it a direct threat to Prime Minister Modi?
So I think there is some amount of disbelief among the Bhakts that he will do it. So I think it will cost him a bit politically. He'll have to really and use the Indian media, Godi media, to show this as a masterstroke. And it'll, I mean, they've done it in the past. They've like flipped on their heads with respect to China. So they can do another backflip and say that what we have done is a masterstroke, another masterstroke. The heaviest blows are yet to fall. That is, the last 6 months will seem like an easy ride when you will see the trade deal that comes out, and when you will see uh, the oil deal, and you will see what other compromises we end up making. It will seem like the last 6 months were easy. That is, the biggest blows that Trump is going to inflict on India and Prime Minister Modi's image are yet to come.
Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought provoking conversations. Today, let's talk about American President Donald Trump, who's once again praised Prime Minister Narendra Modi, calling him a great man who loves Trump. Now, this was a statement made about 2 days ago. And he also was quick to clarify that he didn't want anyone to take that the wrong way or ruin PM Modi's political career. Now, Trump's latest praise for Prime Minister Modi came after he claimed that the latter had assured him that India would halt oil purchases from India, describing it as a significant boost to his efforts to isolate Moscow in the Ukraine war. Now, when a reporter asked President about Prime Minister Modi's recent meeting with US envoy designate Sergio Gore, the president said, and I'm going to quote because that's going to be something very, very significant of what we are going to discuss. He said, and I'm going to quote again, Prime Minister Modi is a great man. Modi is a great man. He loves Trump. Now, I don't know if the word love, I don't want you to take that any differently. I don't want to destroy his political career. And then he goes on to say, I have watched India for years. It's an incredible country, and every single year you'd have a new leader. Some would be there for a few months, and this was year after year. And my friend PM Modi has been there for a very long time, and he's assured me there will be no oil purchases from Russia. Now, this was a statement which he made, and obviously, the Ministry of External Affairs has denied that there was any phone call between Modi and Donald Trump. But the point is that the way Donald Trump has again reacted, saying that he doesn't want to destroy Prime Minister Modi's career, and at the same time putting pressure on Prime Minister Modi to give up on the oil purchases from Russia, what does it really go to show? And the biggest question is that has Prime Minister Modi completely surrendered? This is what I'm going to be discussing. Joining me this evening is international affairs expert, academician, and columnist Professor Mohsin Raza Khan. Thank you so much, Mohsin, for joining on HW News Network. Always a pleasure having you on the program. And what would you really say on this latest statement by Donald Trump, who says that I don't want to destroy Modi's political career, but at the same time, he publicizes it well that Modi has said that he'll stop the Russian oil purchase. What does it really mean?
It means that Donald Trump actually knows that this is politically expensive and costly for Prime Minister Modi. He knows that Prime Minister Modi will have to pay a price. That means he has been briefed by his staff, Trump has. And He's saying, look, that's not my goal. I don't want to hurt you, but hey, I need to get my way. And to get my way means you have to stop purchasing Russian oil, and you have to give me a good trade deal on my terms. So I don't want to hurt you, but I don't want to hurt myself either. That is, I want the best deal possible. And I, more or less, I don't care that much about you.
No, but if you, Mohsin, if you look at the statement which he made very carefully, and the very fact that he says that I have watched, I'm going to quote this again because it's a very interesting line. He says, I have watched India for years. It's an incredible country. And every single year, you'd have a new leader. Some would be there for a few months. And this was year after year. And my friend Modi has been there for a long time. And he's assured me that there will be no oil purchases from Russia. Now, this particular statement, what does it really show? Does it not show that Donald Trump is trying to tell Prime Minister Modi in very clear terms that if you want to continue to remain in power as Prime Minister Modi, you need to stop purchasing oil from Russia? Is that not a direct statement he's trying to make to Prime Minister Modi, even though MEA might try and deny this?
It could be, or it could be that he's a bit confused. He's not been following India closely because he remembers India possibly from the 1990s when he was running the Miss Universe organization. In those days, in the 90s, we did have a series of prime ministers. Because factually, the statement is wrong. I mean, Modi's been in power for 12 years. Before that, Manmohan Singh was prime minister for 10 years. So we have had two stable prime ministers for the last 22 years. And even before that, Vajpayee was there for 6 years. So in the last 28 years, we have had only three prime ministers. So I think what he remembers is a little bit more of the 1990s. And I could be that he's referring to that. Could be that, he's also giving some, as you are saying, some subtle
Do you
signal.
see that as a veiled threat to Prime Minister Modi? That look, if you want to continue to remain in power, you need to stop the Russian oil purchase. Is it a veiled threat or is it a direct threat to Prime Minister Modi?
It's it's a veiled threat, I would say, and he has gone ahead with the threat in the sense that he has put it into effect by putting 25% and plus 25% surplus sanctions because of the oil. So 50% is an exorbitant tariff rate. India, in such a competitive market like the United States, India just can't compete. So he has not just given a threat; he has gone ahead and implemented it. Now, what we are looking for, Prime Minister Modi and the rest of India, is for some relief. So he's saying, look, relief will come when conditions are met. And the conditions that met means you have to put Russia under some pressure. You have to stop buying Russian oil. But my feeling is his primary goal is getting a good trade deal. And that is what would really satisfy him. So I am foreseeing actually some further surrenders by our leadership uh, and accommodating Trump and the United States in a very good deal for them.
No, but if you are saying that you are seeing some more surrender on the part of the prime minister or on the part of the government, what will it mean politically for Modi? Will he stop continuing to purchase the Russian oil? And as the preliminary figures are coming across, we do see that there is a decline in the purchase of oil from Russia. So if this is the way Prime Minister, if this is the way Donald Trump is going to pressurize Modi, we would obviously see the end of any kind of purchase from Russia as far as oil is concerned. So are we going to see, like what you said, that we are going to see some more surrender? What will it mean politically for Prime Minister Modi?
Politically, it will play very badly because I was just looking at one of the Bhakt's Twitter handles, and that guy was claiming that this could be fake news and he couldn't believe it that his great leader, Prime Minister Modi, would do this. So I think there is some amount of disbelief among the Bhakts that he will do it. So I think it will cost him a bit politically. He'll have to really and use the Indian media, Godi media, to show this as a masterstroke. And I mean, they've done it in the past. They've like flipped on their heads with respect to China. So they can do another backflip and say that what we have done is a masterstroke, another masterstroke. But it'll be difficult, for people to swallow this. Firstly, Russia also might protest. So it's not just his political base, but Mr. Putin might be upset, and we get
Sorry,
so many
Russia,
of our.
Seen, as far as Russia is concerned, how do you think Vladimir Putin will respond to a statement like this made by Donald Trump that India has to stop Russian oil purchase? He's going on threatening Prime Minister Modi, saying that no, it'll. He doesn't want to end his political career, but at the same time, he talks about governments which were there for like a few months or for a few years, and then he speaks about Prime Minister Modi continuing for a long time. How do you think is it going to is Russia really going to react on this?
I think Russia will react very negatively, Neelu, very negatively, because for Russia, this is a do or die. They are not able to export much else. Oil is one of their main revenue earners. And if America succeeds, if the US succeeds in putting pressure on India not to buy, then the other two large customers, that is China and Turkey, might follow suit. So this India could be setting a very bad precedent for Putin. And Putin will try to avoid it. In fact, the initial reactions from the Russian foreign ministry and Putin have been of disbelief. They're trying to deny this. Uh, and
No,
they are
but
trying.
does this statement of Donald Trump put Modi in a further quandary? Because on one side he's being pressurized by Donald Trump. Now the other side there'll be pressure from China and Turkey as well. Like what you're saying, they will also be saying that okay, now speak up. What of this pressure at least? Otherwise, because he's already been saying, Donald Trump already mentioned
No,
that
no, India.
if India stops buying oil from Russia, next in suit would be China. This is what he said.
Yeah. Even Trump himself indicated next time going to pressure. Of course, he may not succeed in pressuring China because China has got much more leverage than India in the international market and in the international system, more power. But what I was saying was that Putin is very worried, and I think Prime Minister Modi is also very worried, and so is the government because so many of our weapons, in fact, the weapons which were critical in the confrontation with Pakistan, were Russian weapons. That is the S-400 missile system, which protected our bases, etc., were all Russian. And we have ordered further S-400s, new systems. Plus, we have ordered replacement missiles for the missiles that we have used up. Suppose Russia halts it, does not supply it, then we will be in further trouble. So Russia might use those systems to blackmail us also. Russia might put pressure on us to keep buying Russian oil. And if we don't, then Russia may not send us those S-400s. Also, the spare parts for the cryogenic engines. There's a lot of stuff which we get from Russia, including electronic warfare equipment. And so we could, our tanks and a lot of our equipment, over 60% of our equipment is of Russian origin. So Putin could also hurt us in exchange. So we are between a rock and a hard place, to be honest.
Do you think that Modi will really surrender in the real terms? Because I'm sure there'll be a lot of introspection, there'll be a lot of churning, and some thought provoking conversations I'm sure they would be having within the cabinet as to how to deal with this kind of a pressure which Donald Trump is trying to unleash. And, anyways, Modi is facing a lot of backlash from the opposition saying that he's completely surrendered. India's foreign policy has basically just gone awry. It doesn't, it seems to be directionless. So, in that case, how do you think is Modi going to handle it? Will he be able to handle it? That's a question.
There is intense pressure, Neelu. Let's not be under any doubt about that because 50% tariff means a lot of our industry, over 55% or 60% of our exports to the United States are being affected. They've gone down virtually to zero in many areas such as prawns and fisheries and textiles and clothing. So we are under some severe pressure, and those people have become unemployed. Those manufacturers have shut shop. So we need relief. On the other hand, if we don't get those weapons from Russia, because we are not a big producer of any kind of weapon, we could end up in trouble in our next confrontation with Pakistan or China. So we are under intense pressure. We have to keep. It's not so much that we need the cheap Russian oil. It's more that we need the Russian weapons and the replacement parts. So we have to keep Putin in good humor. So he's under severe pressure, and also his domestic image will suffer. For Modi, the cost is quite high, and I've not even begun talking about the trade deal. We can discuss that. That's a whole different issue about where the compromises will be there, what it will do to Modi's image here, any compromises on the trade deal, what will domestic manufacturers who are losing out in this trade deal react. So that's a whole different issue. So yeah, so there is, you will see that both prime ministers under intense pressure, and you will see a lot of media management. You will see a lot of PR by BJP spokespersons to sell this. It'll be a hard sell, I must say. I don't envy that job.
No, but do you think that India will get anywhere close to having what it wants when it comes to the trade deal? Is there any hope left, or it's like a lost battle now?
The trade deal, I think, will lead to a capitulation. Our government is going to capitulate for two reasons. One is that Trump has put such intense pressure, as I mentioned, that we can't sustain that in terms of the unemployment and loss of trade. The second thing is Trump is putting at stake many other things also. We get a lot of our technology from uh, the US for our both for our defense purposes, but also for civilian purposes, chips, etc. So that could be at stake. But even more importantly is our services exports, our tech exports to the US. That is a large amount of the real estate and stock market of India, including in cities such as Hyderabad, Gurgaon, Noida, Pune, Bombay, run on these global capability centers of American companies. All these American companies have Indian centers, companies such as Google, Microsoft, but also financial sectors like JP Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs, and all other kinds of firms, insurance firms, etc. So there are dozens and dozens of these, and they constitute about 60% of our exports, services exports. So if Trump really gets angry, and the next stage could be there is a proposal going through the US Senate and Congress, which says that any service produced outside the US, which is sold in the US, should be taxed at 25% rate. Now, 25% is also a very high tariff rate, which means that these services centers could shift out from India. They could go to Philippines, they could go to Pakistan, they could go to other English-speaking countries like Malaysia, and we could be in trouble. So he could put further pressure on us. So we are being pushed by the intense pressure that Trump is pushing, uh, and also by the fact that we need US help in any confrontation with China, because US provides us with satellite intelligence, signals intelligence, etc., weapons, technology. In fact, even the engine for the future Tejas that we are planning, all of that is from the US. We need US for markets. We are under pressure, and I think our what is called sovereignty or samprabhuta in Hindi might end up getting compromised. We might have to, Prime Minister Modi would have to bend, because if you don't bend, you will break.
No, but continuously there's pressure from the side of America on Prime Minister Modi. Trump also continues to embarrass Modi continuously. Now, when he says that I won't destroy his political career, that's exactly what Trump is doing. So this lacing his language in such a manner, speaking what is full of sarcasm for Prime Minister Modi, but yet we do not have any answers. We cannot talk straight. Look at the manner in which the MEA spokesperson, whether it is Randeep Jaiswal or any other person, their language seems to be completely muted. So, can we not improve the style of our response, the way we respond to Donald Trump, or it will remain muted, given the fact that nobody can raise their head against Donald Trump?
See, if you raise your head, there's a price to pay. The question is, are we willing to pay the price? Is Prime Minister Modi, is India willing to pay the price? Yes, you can. I mean, there are countries which have told him to go take a hike, countries such as Brazil, or these countries have told him that, look, we'll bend so much and no further, even South Africa, etc. So you have to make a decision. You will pay a price. Question is Prime Minister Modi willing to pay the price or not? It's not impossible. You can stand up to Trump, but it requires you to go down the hard path. Are you willing to take that pain, or you can't take that pain, and therefore you compromise? You do technically it would be a surrender.
But don't you think, Mohsin, that Donald Trump has destroyed Modi's political career to a large extent in terms of his image, in terms of his 56-inch chest image, which he had? He's already punctured that a lot. And now, don't you think that Trump is a bigger challenge for Modi than his own opposition within the country?
I agree with you that the puncturing of that image, strongman image, of that Vishwaguru image, has definitely happened. And the longer this stretches, the more the damage is. And finally, the surrender will look. Uh, I think what Prime Minister Modi is expecting is that if I stretch it out enough, the surrender won't look so bad. People will come to accept it, because this is what happened. If you remember, in the case of the farm laws, also, he stretched it out for over a year, and finally surrendered, and then uh, he believed that it didn't look too bad, and his base also swallowed it, though it did dent his strongman image. I think he's expecting the same thing: stretch it out for 6 months or so, and it will soon be 6 months, and then people will forget. But it's not going to happen in this case for two reasons. One is Trump is in the habit of rubbing it in. He doesn't just take a victory and go home. Trump's habit is that when he wins, he rubs it in, he reminds you repeatedly. He reminds not just you, he reminds the world, he reminds the Nobel Peace Prize Committee, he reminds everybody that he can, so that, and his base also, so that he can get the votes and he can get the glory. The second reason people are not going to forget it is this is a matter of international pride and prestige. Compromising farmers was a compromise with our own citizens. People still accept that to some extent. Maybe his base didn't like it, but the rest of Indians were okay with it. Compromising with the US would be universally disliked, even not just the opposition, but even among his own base. So the price to be paid would be higher, and the deflation of the image would be more stark. And so, yes,
No,
you're
but
absolutely right.
how do we really qualify the definition of compromise? Obviously, the MEA will put up a brave face saying that we have not compromised, but in the real sense, the compromise is happening slowly and gradually. India is capitulating to all the demands of President Donald Trump. So, in what sense can they really? Until how long will Modi's supporters or BJP spokespersons continues to say that there is no compromise? Because now people can read that at every step there is a compromise, at every step there is a surrender. How long will they continue to put up this show that there is no compromise?
See, for the true bhakts, they will still remain with him. There's no doubt about that, because it is like following a true religion. That is, you will always find some excuse to prove your God is the right God. But for others, it becomes increasingly and glaringly clear that, look, there is a compromise here and there could be problems here. Who will call the bluff in the end is not clear. Finally, if you remember the story of the emperor with no clothes, it was a little child who calls out the fact that the emperor is naked. So who will finally call out the bluff? I can't say. Maybe it'll be an election in Bihar, or maybe it'll be an election, I don't know, in Delhi, which will call out his bluff. But these things happen gradually. Even when people look at election results, sometimes, yes, it is something to do with the moment itself. But quite often, the result of an election is decided months or even years before the election. That is, it is a slow process which leads people to vote in a particular way. And I think this is what Prime Minister Modi and Amit Shah care about most: elections. Our whole foreign policy has been contrived and contorted in order to appease a domestic electoral base and to get votes at home.
No,
So as
but you
long
you spoke about Bihar elections and the domestic politics, and which is why I'm asking you that is, are Modi and Shah really worried about the failing foreign policy? Or they are more focused on the domestic elections? They think that if they can win domestically, they can confront anything. But it seems that the challenges now are bigger from the foreign fronts. Donald Trump is the biggest nightmare for Prime Minister Modi, but they are not realizing that.
You're absolutely right. But the thing is, foreign policy has not always been a critical element in domestic politics in India or in any other part of the world, actually, in the US. So how much impact it will have to be seen.
No, but isn't it
You know,
Modi who's made foreign policy as part of his domestic politics?
This is
Like
this is
Operation
exactly
Sindoor.
this is exactly what I was going to say, that Modi's tenure has been an exception. Before this, no prime minister has used his foreign image or so-called foreign policy achievements as domestic political bait. So he has, and it has paid some dividends. That is, Indians want their country to do well. It's natural. In anybody would want their country to do well, and if the prime minister projects himself as a world leader, that does have some positive impact on his image back home. Now, what will be the reverse of that? That is when you have foreign policy reversals and your image is deflated. What will be the effect of that at home in elections is yet to be seen. I assume that there will be some impact because their respect for him will go down. But to what extent, and will BJP able to make up for that through some caste manipulation or through some communal manipulations in the Muslim? That is yet to be seen. So we will see. Uh, it may or may not reflect itself in, as I said, in Bihar, but it could reflect itself a few years down in some other election. Public memory is short, so it may not. Uh, this particular incident itself may not influence the election, but what happens is these kind of incidents accumulate over time. Uh, People may not specifically remember what happened with Trump on the trade deal, but people will remember, okay, what happened with Trump on the trade deal, what happened with Trump on the Russian oil. People may remember, okay, so what happened with Trump regarding the peace prize, and slowly things accumulate. So this might be another nail. It might not be the final nail, but it may be another nail.
Right. No, it's very clear that apparently Prime Minister Modi will continue to surrender. There'll be more of capitulation. But as far as Donald Trump is concerned, how long will he continue to embarrass him further? And which brings me to the question that will Prime Minister Modi have the courage to meet him in person, to have a physical meeting with him? We should not forget what happened with Zelensky and the way Donald Trump embarrassed him. So Prime Minister Modi wouldn't be able to afford that kind of a thing. So will he avoid meeting Trump in the coming days?
So apparently, the last meeting between them in Washington was also quite embarrassing. In fact, one journalist mentioned to Sushant Singh that it was a humiliating experience, and he was shocked. He had never seen something like that. Apparently, a prime minister was made to wait like 6 hours, and then there were some proceedings behind closed doors, which we are not privy to. The prime minister also didn't want to do a press conference, but was forced by Trump to do a press conference with him. So they were even the last meeting was not comfortable, and so rightly, Prime Minister Modi is not taking his call because he knows Trump's nature. Now, what will happen in the next meeting, or whether the next meeting will happen at all, will depend on whether a deal is made. If no deal has been made, there will be no meeting because Prime Minister Modi knows that Trump is going to pressurize him. And as you said, we've seen his meetings with the South African Prime Minister and with Zelensky, etc. It could be very embarrassing. So he'll avoid it. Only if a deal has been made and Prime Minister Modi knows that the sailing will be smooth, then he will meet Trump publicly.
No, every expert is talking about the fact that, what the opposition in India couldn't do in the last 11 years, Donald Trump has done that in just a matter of 7 to 8 months. If you look at the last 8 months, the way Donald Trump has dealt with Prime Minister Modi, especially post Operation Sindoor, Modi's image has got completely demolished. So, my last question to you is that where has Donald Trump really brought Modi as far as the international and the diplomatic politics is concerned, and also as far as the domestic audience is concerned? Where has Donald Trump brought Modi?
Neelu, let me tell you that the heaviest blows are yet to fall. That is, the last 6 months will seem like an easy ride when you will see the trade deal that comes out, and when you will see uh, the oil deal, and you will see what other compromises we end up making. It will seem like the last 6 months were easy. That is, the biggest blows that Trump is going to inflict on India and Prime Minister Modi's image are yet to come. Uh, this story is not yet over, as they say, picture abhi baki.
No, and I'm just wondering, when you say that the heaviest blow is yet to fall on Modi, what could that heaviest blow be? Will it be almost dethroning Prime Minister Modi from his PM's chair? Or it could be something else? Because, in a way, his recent statement clearly shows that if he wants to remain in power, he better stop purchasing the Russian oil.
Absolutely. And when this publicly is announced that we have stopped I have a feeling they won't publicly announce it because it will be too embarrassing. Our government won't announce that, but it will be clear that uh, we have stopped purchasing. And when this news, I hope some media takes it up, because my feeling is Godi media will not even take up this news publicly. And when the news is announced of the trade deal, that will be very big news, because that is unavoidable. That even the Godi media will have to announce, and the government also will have to announce. And it will be definitely an embarrassing deal for us, a very embarrassing deal, I perceive, I foresee. And I think that would be actually the heaviest blow. And it will be difficult to avoid that blow, even though they will
Right.
try to say it.
Right. So
Mhm.
you're clearly saying that the heaviest blow is yet to fall on Modi's head. But where does it take the India US relationship? We are not going to see the glorious days of India US relationship at all, which means now.
Absolutely correct. The glory days are over. What we are going to try to do is manage it now to prevent a complete disaster. That is, salvage what we can. It's like a shipwreck out of which you try to salvage at least the bare bones. The mass of the ship is damaged. That is, the relationship. Uh, and at some point, the relationship anyway had to go down because of the protectionist way that the US has now started behaving. Trump has started behaving. So that damage was anyway going to happen. Now there'll be further damage because of the political damage and the reputational damage and all of that. The economic damage has already happened, and we will have to just manage it.
So, I mean, it's really unfortunate, but yes, as you say, that in the coming days, there could be more surrenders, there could be more capitulation. And as you said, and I'm going to repeat that line, that the heaviest blow is yet to fall on Prime Minister Modi. We do not know what price he will have to pay for this kind of a trade deal or whatever you may call it. Thank you so much. We'll have to end it here. Thank you very much, Mohsin, for joining on HW News. Thank you.